Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is part 2 of our favorite childhood reads. We actually filmed part 1 and part 2 at the same time, and then in editing decided to split them up into 2 videos. So that's why our appearance will look a little bit different. But we really wanted to share the second part with you. We just didn't want to make you sit through a 30-minute video. So here you go, please enjoy.
So that was just the book series. Now we have the real stack of books that's like 1.5 feet tall. The first book is Quantum League by Matthew J. Kirby. This is such a great book. It's a standalone, although I think there's a sequel that's been written but not published as far as I know.
Yeah.
But we loved this book. Our friend recommended it to us and we just devoured it.
It's a sci-fi, I guess, series where basically kids with superpowers.
They learn to use superpowers. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And pretty much anybody can do it. Pretty much anybody can do it if you learn how. And so it's kind of a different way of looking at the world of superheroes and superpowers, and it's definitely very interesting and very well done.
And we've set them in the middle school age category.
It's a lesser known book for sure, so if you are kind of at all intrigued, I'd recommend checking it out just to get it some more exposure, because it's
really
definitely
well done.
worth it. So, oh boy.
With the author.
Oh wow. Okay. So, Runny Babbit. This is, I believe it is a series or a book of
like poems, prose, rhymes,
poems, but
what did you say?
poems, rhymes. But yeah, so it's called Runny Babbit, and it's about a rabbit.
It's about a runny babbit, Tony.
Basically, it takes the words and mixes them up a little bit. So it takes the R from rabbit and puts it in front of bunny, and takes the B from bunny and puts it in front of rabbit.
Just
and
in case you hadn't caught that.
That becomes Runny Babbit. And so there's all these things throughout the entire book that's like that, and it's just a fun book. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just fun.
And we've set this to span all the age categories.
Everyone should read this book.
It's just really enjoyable. Another book I wanted to talk about is Ralph and His Motorcycle. And this isn't the Ralph and His Motorcycle, this is the sequel, Ralph S. Mouse. This is written by Beverly Cleary, and I love all of her books, but I really loved Ralph and His Motorcycle. It was the one book with an animal main character that I was able to love. So,
yeah,
great job.
It's very interesting. If you've read any Beverly Cleary, you'll know that it's her writing style is just very lighthearted and fun, and yet it packs a punch still. Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
We put this book in the elementary age category.
The next book in our stack is Mystery of the Roman Ransom. So, like I said, with the Percy Jackson ones, I love the historical look and the mythological look into ancient civilizations like Romans and Greeks and stuff. And so this Mystery of the Roman Ransom, that's a hard title for me to say tonight, is very, it's not super focused on the Greek or on the Roman gods and stuff like that, but it is still set in ancient Rome, and I think it's a mystery too, so there's why we loved it so much, I guess.
I don't remember reading this one.
I remember reading them.
I think I read the Ides of April and you read this one and I didn't finish it or something.
I don't know. But yeah.
We've set this in the middle school age category.
Yep.
The next book we've both really loved. It's The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. This is a more mature book with some deeper themes in it. It's set during the Civil War, the American Civil War, and it's very, very interesting. It's very well done. It's probably the most graphic book I read, like to start reading books. It was probably the most graphic, but it was not overdone, if that makes sense. It wasn't grotesquely graphic.
Yeah, it's in many ways a haunting look into the Civil War, and that's for I'm not going to say children's book because it's not a children's book, but for a young adult book, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's very much a dark story.
We have this set in the high school category because it is a really good book to read when you're learning about the Civil War and about what's made America the way it is today.
Yeah.
And we're back to The Giver. I think we've talked about this in almost every single video so
Probably.
far. And we left this not in the book series because I just wanted to talk about The Giver because that was the main book that we really loved.
And so far, that's the only one that I've actually completely finished.
This is written by Lois Lowry, and we've set it in the middle to high school age range.
We're not going to talk any more about that because
You've heard it all before.
You can go watch our vlogs or anything else, and you'll see our thoughts on that.
Now we have Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. This is a really, really, I want to say pretty book, and I know that's a really odd description, not just because the characters, or not just because of the photos, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the story itself. If you haven't read this book, I would recommend it. We've set it in the middle school age range, and it's a really, really great book.
Yes, so the pretty, what she was trying to mean by pretty is the writing style and the story is just a very beautiful and colorful story.
I would even add the setting as well.
Yes. Yep.
Next is The Moffatts by Eleanor Estes. And it's been a while since I read this, but this is one of the books about a family with several children just going about their day-to-day lives, and I really loved stories like that. These type of stories and mysteries are my absolute favorite.
We put this book series in the elementary to middle school range.
It's a book, not a book
This
series.
book, single book, whatever.
Next we have The Witch of Blackbird Pond. This is a really, really good book. It's very powerful, and it talks a lot about assumptions. I think that's a huge theme in it. People make assumptions that this girl is a witch, and I will let you read the story for yourself to find out all that really goes on, because it's a very, very good book. It's written by Elizabeth George Spear, and we've placed it in the middle school to high school category. Another book is The Family Under the Bridge. I read this book so many times, and for some reason I don't remember it very well. I know I loved the idea because they were living, I think it was a homeless family, and so they were living under a bridge. I don't remember. I read it so many times because I loved it, and I can't remember what it's about. So it's very short, so I'll probably reread it one of these days. It's written by Natalie Savage Carlson, and we've placed this in the elementary age range. The next book is another one I reread and reread, The Children of Noisy Village. This is about several families that all live in a very small village. They live near each other. Everyone's kind of like brothers and sisters, all the children are. And these are the adventures of the children as they live their lives in this very, very happy village. It's just such an enjoyable read. I don't know. It's written by Astrid Lindgren, and I've placed it in the elementary age range. The next book is An All-of-a-Kind Family by Sydney Taylor. This is a book about a Jewish family, actually, and this was really fun to read as a kid. It's another story with several siblings, like I mentioned with the Moffatts, just a family going about their lives. There's some interesting insight into how a Jewish family lived, and so that was really interesting, and I loved that. This we've also put in the elementary age range. We're just going right through these. This is A Lion to Guard Us by Clyde Robert Bulla. This is another book I reread and reread. One thing that I really remember strongly about this book is the whole feeling of it was much darker than a lot of my other young books. It's about a family who is going to the New World, America, to meet their father. Their mother dies in wherever they come from.
Good enough.
Anyhow, it's a very powerful book, and this is one that's worth a read at any age, honestly. We have it set at the elementary school age, but I think the themes in here are strong enough that we would recommend it to anyone. The next book is The Little Riders by Margaretha Sheeman. This book takes place in World War II, and it's about a little girl. I know that she has to house a Nazi soldier in her home, and I don't remember much else about that except we saw the more human side of some of the people who served on the Nazi side of the army, which is intriguing.
And just so that I'm not sitting here dead, we put this book in the elementary age range.
The next book we want to talk about is the Ramona. This specific book is Ramona and her father, but all of the Ramona stories, Ramona and Beezus, Ramona Saves the Day. I can't think of the other ones. It's another Beverly Cleary book, and it's a tale about a very eccentric little girl, and she's really quite naughty, but I love to read about her. Probably it, just felt very, very much like myself, but I really, really enjoyed this. We've set this in the elementary age range as well.
So, The Bronze Bow. This is a story set, I don't know the exact time when it's set, but it's about a Jewish boy during the Roman rule of Israel, and basically he's a weaponsmith, a blacksmith, and he makes weapons and bridles and things like that, and because of his job, he is required to work for the Roman Empire, even though he despises them. And it's a story about how he secretly rebels against the Roman Empire, I guess, and has to be careful not to get himself killed, essentially. This was written by Elizabeth George Spear, and we placed it in the middle school range. So the next book is Tharis and His Town by Caroline Dale Snedeker. So once again, this is during the Roman Empire, and so there's a bit of that Roman mythology aspect to it that I love to read about. This one is also about a young boy who, rather than being an Israelite, he is a Roman, and he wants to be a Spartan and become a great soldier in the Roman army. This one, he doesn't, I guess I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what happens at the end of this book, but it's a very fun story. There's some aspects of it that fall very closely in line with Roman mythology, and I just remember when I read it, I just really enjoyed it.
We put this in the middle age range as well.
The next one is The Red Keep by Alan French. This one is, I don't know the exact time period once again, but it is a book about knights, essentially. So whatever time period that is, there's conflicting reports, But it's a story about knights who have to defend their keep, and I think it's been a while since I read it, but I think there's a princess who has to basically disguise herself as a man in order to stay alive, because the keep is overrun or something like that. And so they're trying to defend and then retake the keep or something like that.
Well, that's a nice change. I thought you were going to say a princess who needed rescued because she was a damsel in distress. Clearly, I haven't read this
distress, but
no, she wasn't in distress. She was in that dress.
She was in that armor. But yes, so this was, I said it was written by Alan French already, but we placed this in the middle school range.
Although I think it would span into high school.
It could easily be a high school or a more high school book.
Yeah.
It's a good read.
The second to last book we have is The Ides of April by Mary Ray. This is another murder mystery set in Rome, AD 62, as it says on the back.
That's
so
nice.
That's really convenient for us. What do you remember about this, Tony?
I don't actually remember a whole lot about it. I remember it being a murder mystery, but I also remember
someone was framed.
Someone being framed, and I wasn't very interested in it. It didn't catch my attention as much as some of the other ones have.
I think, and it's been a while since I've read this, but I think it was slow. Like the writing style was really slow, but the end result, once you got the whole mystery solved, it was one of those type of books where you're like, okay, I really respect this, and the story was really fabulous. It just took a really long time to get there. And we've placed that in the middle school age range.
So the last book, and I'm actually really happy that this is the last book we get to talk about, is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Who's it by?
I don't know. I haven't read this in a long time.
Written by Judy Barrett.
Look at these. This is way better than the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
It's got the most beautiful illustrations.
Remember, these look like the little pieces in I'm Hungry
This
Now.
story is... you probably know the story of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Well, they made a movie of it.
That's true, but that wasn't
different.
nearly as good.
Look at the illustrations.
It's just so good. It's just such an amazing, beautiful book. It's I remember hating the illustrations because it was all hatching.
There's so much food.
But seeing it now is just like, this is So we should do a full dedicated review for this book.
You know,
We should.
if you're interested, comment down below.
Even if you aren't, we still might do it. Just because
We'll do
it's
a
so fun.
Monday review.
Yeah. It's just so cool. It's just so much fun. And our parents read this to us, I don't know, probably at least once a week, if not more than that. And we just, we looked at the illustrations. I mean, they're so beautiful.
They're really busy
It's
illustrations.
very
You can kind
busy.
of get lost in them.
But you can stare at them forever and find new things
And
about
what's
them each
weird
time.
is the food looks good, and it's like a weird, like it's almost like a disgusting look, but it's not. It's like a really makes you really hungry kind of look.
And it's where's my favorite? I have to find
like
my
that one.
favorite. And it's sad too.
It
I
is?
forgot how sad it is.
I don't remember how sad it is.
Because they leave the island.
Oh.
But yeah,
Guys,
where's my favorite?
this is way better than the movies.
It is so much better than. There it was. A Jello castle on the hill. You don't know how bad I wanted to have a Jello castle.
Our childhood dreams. You've heard him here. He wants a Jello castle.
This is one of the best books ever written. And yeah, I'm so glad that this is on our list.
You exaggerated that just a little.
No, I didn't. Anyways,
Give it up.
We put that book in the everyone range. Everyone needs to read it because it's amazing. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. This was a very fun video to film. I'm not entirely sure why, it just really was.
Once again, comment down below if you've read any of these books.
If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and make sure you drop a like before you leave. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay warm.